Hey everyone, welcome to another $1,000 strap search. I've got my $1,000 in singles here and I'm about to show you what I found. But before I do, let's talk about this week's tip. Now, I collect a lot of Canadian notes. I don't want to say a lot, but I mean, when I do world notes, Canada is probably the number one place that I do my collecting from. There's a lot of interesting stuff there and it's fairly easy to get a hold of. But the stuff that demands a lot of attention, well, that can be a little tougher to get. Me living in the US, I don't have direct access to a lot of Canadian notes. It's not as if I lived in Canada. So when I go to shops, they don't have a whole lot. So I think to myself, well, what if I was in Canada? would I see all of the stuff that I'm usually looking for with Canadian notes as common as we see silver certificates in the small size silver certificates in American shops? It makes me wonder. Anyway, if you're going to be hunting around with Canadian stuff, there's a couple things that I should point out to you. First of all, let me scoot this here. You definitely want a price guide. This is the Canadian Government Paper Money. The Charlton book is what this is. Charlton Standard Catalog. And this particular one's from 2019. They make these every year. So you definitely want this. Full color. The amount of info in this book is just incredible for Canadian notes. I mean, it's just, I wish Paper Money of the United States went as in-depth as this book does. And the fact that they come out every year, yeah, great reference if you're looking for Canadian notes. The other thing is, though, that the prices in this book are obviously in Canadian currency. Well, instead of doing the math, understand that there's probably a premium on the stuff just from getting it from the home country to the US. So everybody always asks whenever I show prices in that guide, oh, but that's the Canadian price. Well, yeah, that's the Canadian price in Canada. Okay, keep that in mind. When it comes to shipping internationally, there's expenses involved in that. And so generally, when I look at that book, I always consider that price, even though it's in Canadian dollars, I always consider it American dollars because that way I know that the premium for getting it here is taken into consideration. All right, let's take a look at what I've got this week. Starting off, this one's interesting. Somebody put all kinds of fun stuff on George, and it looks like the center portion of a book of stamps they put on there. They also colored that in. So yeah, just a pretty worn note, no big deal. Found a stripper note. You can see right through this note, it's soaked in baby oil. So yeah, we know where this one's been, or at least we don't want to think about where it's been. This one here is ridiculously worn, except for the serial numbers and the seals. And that's because the second print, well, they start off with the first print. They print the back of the note. And you have to remember that there are grooves in the plate. And those grooves are filled with ink. And then high pressure is used to push the paper into those grooves. That means everything printed on the note is going to be raised up. But then they flip the note over and they do the exact same process on this side. Well, when they use all that pressure to force the paper into the grooves, that raises the black ink on this side, but it flattens out the raised ink on the back. Then, when they actually stamp the seals and serial numbers, those are stamped into the note, leaving just the black as the raised image. So now when you start to wear notes out, whether they're on a road being driven over or dragged across a floor or whatever, the black portion tends to wear much faster than the seal portion because the black portion is raised where the seals and serial numbers are pushed in. So this is not an error. You're going to see a lot of these. You're going to see a lot of people telling you these are errors. There is a possibility for it to be an under-inking error, but if the note is not crisp uncirculated, they're never going to give it that because you can't prove that it happened at the mint. This one was interesting because it's close to a lamination error, or at least what's intended to be a lamination error. If you look at the top of this note, you can see there's clearly a portion where there's nothing printed, but the note has been split in half. And if I can just take my finger, there we go. I can unfold this part and you'll see that it's there, which makes it look like two pieces of paper laminated together that have now split apart. This is just a dried out note with damage on it. This is not an error. A lot of people like to claim these are errors. It's literally just damage. Here's a birthday note, 2005, August 21st. Wrong order, but if that was my birthday, I'd be happy to find it. Got some trinaries, 0s, 7s, and 9s, 2s, 6s, and 8s, 1s, 3s, and 4s, 1s, 5s, and 7s, 2s, 3s, and 6s. Yeah, you get the feeling that these are easy to find. And quads. Quad zeros to start with. And some people would call this a low serial number. It is not. I mean, yeah, it's low, but it has to have another zero. It has to start with 5 zeros or more in order for there to be any value there. So, no, just quad zeros. Now, keep that in mind. The best possible digit for quads is 0, and the best possible location would be starting the number out like that. So starting 0000, that's the best you can get for any quads. Think about that. If you have any other digit leading, well, obviously 0 would be the best. And any other position on the note, well, clearly that makes it the lowest number. But even then, it's still not worth anything over face value. So no, quads are not worth anything. And quads are twice as hard to find as trinaries. So there's that. I save my quads and trinaries trying to pair serial numbers, and that's it. There's quad 2s on this one, quad 6s here, and some stars. 2017 A star, not filled. 2017 A, 2017 A, 2017 A, 2017 A, lots of stars. Still lots of stars in circulation. 2017, here's a 2017, here's a 2017. Remember, this is out of 1,000. I found quite a few this time. Another 2017, 2013, 2013, 2013B. Now, to the duplicate series, you're talking 250,000 or less, and then you're talking 3.2 million to 9.6 million. That would be 032 to 096, and this is 060, clearly in that range. So yeah, this is one of the duplicate notes, and they go for about $20, so that's cool. Then some older notes, 2003A, in really good shape, actually. Another 2003A, another one, 2001, you don't see as many of those. Another 2001, 1999, 99, 99, 1995, not a web note. 1995 in really good shape. And then I found this. Take this for what it's worth. It's a trinary, 2s, 4s, and 6s. So what? It's quads. It has quad 4s. So what? But it also technically is 4 pairs. You have a pair of 2s, a pair of 6s, a pair of 4s, and another pair of 4s. Is that worth anything? I don't know. People tell me that 4 pairs are worth something. So I would have to assume that they would think this is worth even more. Do I buy it? I don't know. Here's the thing. I'm not trying to sell it, and I'm not trying to convince you should run out and buy any of these. Do I think it's neat? Sure. Am I going to buy one? No. So you can put anything you want in your collection. Just don't waste money buying stuff that you just think is neat. Find it. There's a lot of neat stuff out there. All right, that's what I found this week. What did I pull out? Well, I could not believe that I had this gaping hole in my set, and now I filled it. Here is a 1954 $50 Canadian note. The 1954 series of Canadian notes was the first series to feature Queen Elizabeth. And I've done all kinds of videos talking about the devil's face. This is the modified version. The modified version they changed so you can no longer see the devil's face in her hair. I've got the 1, the 2, the 5, the 10, the 20. I've got the 100, both the devil's face and the modified versions. I had all of them. The only one I didn't have was the modified 50. Yeah. So by getting a modified 50, here, let's take a look at the back of this one. Just cool beach scene there. The waves crashing on the rocks. Very neat note. And once again, with Canada, you have to remember that they print everything twice. They print it in English on one side where it says $50, and then they print it in French on this side, $50, I guess. You got Bank of Canada and Banque de Canada. I don't speak French. I can't figure that. I can't pronounce it, but 50 and there as well. And they were even kind enough to do the numbers in English on this side and in French on this side. So you've got that to look forward to. Like I was saying before, I have all of the different denominations in both the modified and the Devil's Head version. I didn't have the modified 50, so this completes my set. So I was excited to finally get a hold of one of these. Didn't even realize there was a gaping hole in the set, but there you go. It is now covered. I did not double check any of the signature combinations. I was just eager to fill the hole. So that's what I've got for you guys this week. If you learned anything new, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. Love reading all your comments. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.